Thus, we begin phenomenology with consciousness and the immediacy of sensory consciousness. Note that our account here will also draw from Hegel's 1807 Phenomenology of Spirit. Sensory consciousness is an immediate knowing of an immediate object, the individual of sense. As immediate, the object cannot be mediated or in relation with anything, nor can the object have any differences or properties within itself. For all this would negate its immediacy. Hence, the object can only be sheer being, or a this, here, now. The contradiction here, which forces us to advance to a new, higher standpoint and shape of consciousness, is this. Sensory consciousness claims to be immediate and individual, but instead it proves to be mediated and universal. Why? Because one, being, or this, are universals and apply to everything, not just to the individual object before you. And two, for something, a sense individual, to have its own being, it must be different from all others. That is, it must have properties, be red, hard, cubical, etc. And these are universals, i.e. sense universals, not thought universals. Thus, you can't say what it is. As being, it is the same as everything else. In fact, there really is nothing there to talk about or know. Sheer immediacy is an impossibility. There must be mediation and universality. Thus, we next advance to perception, whose object is a thing which does contain a universal dimension in its properties. So the thing, this hat, pen, star, is a mixture of individuality and universality. A mixture of individuality, the thing, the one, being for itself, and universality, the thing's properties, the many, being for another. And this precisely is the contradiction. How can the same thing be one and many at the same time? It can't. Therefore, as contradictory, the thing goes to the ground, or proves to be a fake. That is, the thing has no true being. It is only, as Plato and Kant have said, an appearance, i.e., an appearance of an underlying reality, a hidden inner non-sensory reality. This forces us to abandon perception and advance to intellect, Verstand, which alone is able to know, by inference, of the entities that inhabit this invisible inner world lying behind the curtain of sensory appearance. And the non-sensory objects that intellect claims to know are the unchanging and universal laws of the empirical or P sciences, which are believed to explain the fleeting individual phenomena of sense. But it is at this point that the object of consciousness becomes consciousness or mind itself, and we necessarily advance to self-consciousness. That is to say, invisible, non-sensory laws are really just universals or thoughts. What else can they be? Hence, they are things which are found within ourselves and have the same nature as our conscious mind. As Hegel says on page 151, therefore, the intellectual consciousness finds in laws its own nature again. Thus, consciousness becomes an object to itself. We then have consciousness of consciousness, or self-consciousness. Hence, consciousness is reality, is what is truly there in front of us, not matter, sense things, forces, and laws, etc. Hegel underscores this point again in his 1807 Phenomenology. Quote, "It is then evident that behind the so-called curtain of appearance, which is supposed to conceal the inner world, there is nothing to be seen unless we, as consciousness, go behind it ourselves, as much in order that we may see as that there may be something there which can be seen." Thus we see that in the inner world of appearance, the intellect experiences only itself. And this is why explaining gives so much self-satisfaction, because in it consciousness is occupied only with itself, though it seems to be busy with something else. End quote. Next time we will complete our study of B, phenomenology, and take up self-consciousness, that is, desire, recognizant self-consciousness, and universal self-consciousness, and then reason, making our transition to spirit and C, psychology. Thank you.